Right now, leaders in Greenville County are sharing an update on the county's impacts of Hurricane Helene. Let's go ahead and listen in live.
And restore power. The key message we want to drive home, though, if you're at home watching this, you're probably sort of back to normal. But there are a lot of people, I think 60-some%, 62, 63% of Greenville County residents still don't have power. So there are still search and rescue teams going. There are still areas in the county where people are trapped behind trees and wires. So if you're experiencing normal, please enjoy that and try to stay off the roads. Be patient as we try to help the other residents in Greenville County get back to normal too. Just a couple things about Greenville County operations. Our county offices, administration, and courts offices are now open and functioning normally on a normal schedule. So tomorrow, I think 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock is when they normally open. Please, again, pay taxes online if you can. There's no fees to pay online. We had a rush on county council and administrative offices this morning, and so I think it'll be easier for people if they just pay online, avoid any fees. Because of our teams that are out in the field doing damage assessment for disaster relief, we still are not able to do building permits. We'll let you know when that changes. And then finally, we have council meeting at 6 tonight. We are delaying some of the public hearings so the public has a chance in 2 weeks to come and speak to those public hearings, but otherwise we'll have our normal meeting at 6 o'clock, and the public is welcome to attend. We will have Ms. Jessica and Ms. Heisha there to give council an update on the storm and update the public as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica for her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jessica Stumpf, GWES ERN Director of Emergency Management for Greenville County. The Greenville County Emergency Operations Center remains at Operation Condition 1. Yesterday, FEMA approved the Individual Assistance Program for Greenville County, which provides direct federal assistance to residents who incurred uninsured damages to their property as a result of the storm. So individuals and businesses who sustained losses can begin applying for assistance now by registering online at www.disasterassistance.gov or by calling 1-800-621-3362 or by using the FEMA app. 59% of the county remains without power. This is down from 72% at this time yesterday. Crews continue to work on removing trees in the roads and assessing the damage across the county. I want to thank all of our county agencies and organizations, state and federal partners, with the assistance they have provided us. Usually it's us heading to the coast to help them, and this time they've all come to help us, and we are very, very grateful. A point of distribution for bottled water in MREs, Meals Ready to Eat, for citizens has been set up at 35 East Antrim Drive in the parking lot beside McAllister Square. It's open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. We still have a shelter open at Hillcrest High School that currently has 24 people in it, and a medical needs shelter is still open at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena for those who have electricity-dependent medical needs along with their caregivers. Last check there were 46 people in that shelter. Again, we encourage you as you begin to clean up to report your damage through the SC Emergency Manager app. You can find that on the App Store or in Google Play, and this helps us with the damage assessment process and federal assistance. For those in Greenville County looking for information on Helene assistance, you can call 864-467-3428 between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. We do have community partners in here today from the United Way, Live Well Greenville, and the Salvation Army assisting us with those needs that are in the county. So if you know someone who needs non-emergency assistance, they can contact 211. And to respond to the community's need, they've launched the United Way of Greenville County Community Relief Fund, which 100% of that gift will go to support the efforts to get the resources into the hands of Greenville County nonprofits and families that are struggling with this disaster. The United Way is doing a donation drop-off Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the United Way of Greenville County at 105 Edinburgh Court. They are going to accept non-perishable foods, bottled water, first aid supplies, cleaning supplies, diapers, and pet food. They will then coordinate distribution to their partners to get it out to those most at need in the community. That concludes my update for today. I'll turn it over to Heisha Gamble, Assistant County Administrator.
Hi, Heisha Gamble, HESHA. First, about damage assessments. Damage assessments have begun, are well in progress. By the end of the day, we will have conducted over 500 damage assessments. There will be no charge for damage-related building permits. Regarding debris pickup, our contractor Ashbrit has mobilized and will start debris collection tomorrow. This will be an ongoing process over the next several weeks. They will be working from sunup to sundown 7 days a week. Residents in unincorporated areas of the county on county-maintained roads should place their tree debris along the edge of the road, maintaining road access. Debris will be collected periodically from all county roads. Please do not place debris in bags. Please do not place any other type of trash or bags on top of the debris piles. The landfill and the convenience centers are open for business. And a reminder, please do not move barricades. Those have been placed for everyone's safety. I'll turn it over to Sheriff Lewis.
Thank you, Heisha. I'm Sheriff Hobart Lewis. Many of you know. Things are certainly getting better again each day. We're fortunate to be able to say that each day. We have attended and held this press conference. I want to remind folks, especially the media, this is no little press conference. You'll see here several department heads giving out vital information that affects every resident in Greenville County. And I say that because y'all carried this live, and I'm sure some folks are watching it on Facebook, but you just heard more than 50% of this county is still without power. So those folks that are operating off a generator don't get this information by watching it on Facebook. They may turn their news on at 6 o'clock. So if you would, ask your producers to give this information out. Don't just play a clip of somebody standing up here talking for a second. They got valuable information for how to get your yard clean and what you need to do to get this stuff picked up. They're telling you where to pick up food and bottled water if you need it, right here at McAllister Square, the old McAllister Square. So that's crucial. So if you want to help, please relay that information to folks on the nightly news, where we can at least have a chance of the majority of the residents in Greenville County watching it. We have deputies. We've been very fortunate to have the National Guard supply water and, like Jessica said, MREs, meal ready to eat. We've been able to hand those out. We pick them up here, take them up to the northern part of the county and southern part of the county, and hand them out to some folks that are shut-ins, can't get out, some that may still be trapped because of where they live and the roads aren't exactly freed up yet. So we appreciate all the men and women, all our first responders, the fire department, EMS, everybody who is helping, obviously the sheriff's office, the highway patrol, Greenville City, and all our other municipalities who are helping reach people and get information to them and do these welfare checks. We do have a team set up at the sheriff's office that just conducts welfare checks when people call. A lot of folks live out of town and they're calling in wanting to check on their parents or grandparents or anybody that lives in Greenville, and we've been able to get those done. Our communications folks have done a tremendous job working in our emergency service department, whether at the hot side or in dispatch at the LEC, of keeping the phone lines open, getting people information. And I want to thank the public. Y'all have taken heed to what we offered you as caution. The gas lines are much better today. People are moving freely up and down the highway. They are treating most intersections like a four-way stop. I think the number of collisions are down, and we appreciate that. That allows first responders to do other things and get to places they need to get to. Very pleased with our business owners who have made a way to open up businesses for food and fast food and grocery stores. I think it just goes to show what a great community we have. I think Greenville County is the greatest county in the upstate. The people here have certainly shined and came through and supported each other. So we just ask that you just certainly continue to pray for each other, pray for all the men and women who are out here doing the work, putting their lives on the line and in harm's way and leaving their families to get things done. So certainly keep them in your prayers. And, if you need something, certainly give us a call. 911, please, for emergencies only. We do have our non-emergency number operating. That's 864-271-5210. And we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have at the end of this press conference.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm Tom Blackwell, Executive Director, Greenville County Emergency Medical Services. I'm going to take just a second, if you will, and with your permission, just to take a second to thank our emergency medical technicians, our paramedics, our 911 telecommunicators, and our support services staff for their bravery, their commitment, and dedication that they've shown since Friday when this thing started. Each have demonstrated their passion for caring for this Greenville County community and for those that are having a bad day. Each employee has fought the wind, they fought the rain, and some tempers out there. But they've answered the call, they've done their job, and they've turned right around to answer the next one and even ask for more, because that's what they do. Our mutual aid colleagues from Charleston and Dorchester counties have remained and will remain with us for an additional 72 hours to help us out. We were able, because of our call volumes coming down a little bit, we were able to demobilize our units from Berkeley and Lancaster counties. We tried to take care of these visitors, our EMS colleagues across the state. Thanks goes to the Bon Secure Wellness Arena for providing hot meals and a place to sleep and hot showers. They've really taken care of our neighbors. Yesterday, we responded to 340 calls with 235 transports to area hospitals. Today, at the time of this press conference, we have about 120 calls with 78 transports. Since Friday morning, when this storm started, we have responded to, EMS has responded to 1,567 calls and transported 986 patients to area hospitals. 85% have been handled by your local Greenville County EMS, with 15% handled by our partners throughout the state. EMS, our telecommunications center, our 911 comm center that we refer to as MedCom, has answered 6,963 calls for service, combination of EMS and for fire. Our complaints continue to be medical complaints now, as a majority, shortness of breath, chest pain, mainly because people are still without power and their oxygen concentrators, etc. Special needs shelter is still open at Bon Secure Wellness Arena. They have capacity for 110 people there. They only have about 50 there now, so there still is capacity. There are healthcare providers there to take care of other long-term chronic needs that patients may have, including medications. Motor vehicle crashes were up a bit, 30 to 40 motor vehicle crashes in the last 24 hours. I would encourage the public, again, please don't go out at night if you don't have to. A lot of our traffic signals are on generator power now, so we do have lights, even though the surroundings, there is no electricity. But we have a term in the law enforcement, fire, and EMS business called situational awareness. And what that means is when you pull up to an intersection, whether it has a signal or not, be aware of your surroundings. Know that that's a four-way stop. Treat it as a four-way stop. We've said that from the very get-go. I'm just here to reinforce it. Please do that. Do not drink. Do not drive. Do not text. I was almost creamed in the parking lot out here yesterday because someone was texting while they were driving and it was pitch black. Let's just don't do that. Be smart. One final thing that I want to make a point of. We almost had a mass casualty incident this morning. We had what we thought was a carbon monoxide scare. If you're running a generator at your home or your place of business, point the exhaust away from where you live, because carbon monoxide, which is odorless, colorless, tasteless, whatever, you don't know it's there, all right? And it can come into your house, you will go unconscious, and you will die if we don't get to you, okay? Point generators away where the exhaust goes away from your house. And if you have a charcoal grill and you think it's a good idea to cook inside, that is the worst idea. That gives off carbon monoxide as well. And back in 2004 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, there was a mass outbreak of deaths in Cabarrus and Mecklenburg County because people brought their grill inside. You cannot do that, okay? You will get carbon monoxide poisoning. You will die if we do not get to you. It's important. Please don't do that. Cook outside if you're using a grill. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Farley, President of the Greenville County Fire Chiefs Association.
The only thing I have to mention this afternoon is a reminder that the State Forestry Commission has put out a burn ban that took effect this morning at 6 a.m., which essentially prohibits any outdoor burning with the exception of cooking or in fireplace, fire pit contained area. So it's just a mere safety aspect to safety move to help eliminate that hazard. We're continuing to push through your neighborhoods. The fire departments are with tree removal. We're working with Duke Power in neutralizing and grounding those wires so that we can safely work out there. And they have had great success throughout the county moving forward. So thank you.
In closing, I'd be remiss to say, if I didn't say how grateful I am as chairman of county council for this team of professionals behind me. Jessica, you've done an amazing job. Hisha, we've got people working around the clock. We've got literally hundreds of volunteers out in the community. If you're watching this and you're experiencing normal, please say a prayer for your brothers and sisters who are still trapped, and say, give thanks for the people and the team that we have behind us. I also would like to recognize Chairman Butch Kerbin. We've got him with us. He's Chair of Finance and Chair Pro Tem of Council. And then we've also got Alan Mitchell, he's Vice Chair of Roads and Public Works. Everybody at the county is working on behalf of our citizens to get back to normal as quickly as possible. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions that you may have.
Kayla, give me Steve, get a bag.
Okay, you have been watching a live update from officials there in Greenville County. Unfortunately, it appears that potentially some sort of medical incident has happened with one of the people there. We are hoping that they are okay. We're going to respectfully break away from that, and I will share with you an update from what officials say as we keep those folks in our thoughts and hope that everything is okay there with officials there in Greenville County. Here's an update from what we just learned from officials sharing that 59% of Greenville County residents still do not have power. That is down from yesterday afternoon when officials said 72% of the county was without power. Officials say there are still search and rescue teams working and people trapped behind trees and wires. And even if your power has been restored, officials ask that you do try to stay off the roads if you can and avoid driving at night if you can. We also learned that county offices, administration, and courts are now operating on a normal schedule, but officials do ask that if you have taxes to pay, that you do try to do that online if you are able to. We also learned, as we've been sharing with you today, that individuals and businesses impacted by the storm can apply now for help from FEMA. This is not just in Greenville County, but people who are impacted throughout the state. We have posted a link on WYFF4.com with more information for you on how to apply for that assistance from FEMA. Also, a reminder from officials, if you are using a generator, be sure that you're pointing the generator exhaust away from your home, and do not bring your grill inside because you could risk carbon monoxide poisoning. We also got an update on where people right now in Greenville County can receive food and water. They can go to McAllister Square. That address is 35 East Antrim Drive in Greenville, and that is open for people from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. There is also a shelter open at Hillcrest High School, and that medical needs shelter is still open at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena for people who perhaps have medical equipment that they need to plug in. Officials saying that there is plenty of room in both of those shelters in Greenville County. A number to remember for non-emergency needs, 864-271-5210. We've been hearing this from officials all around the upstate this afternoon, that they ask you, if you do not have an emergency, to please not call 911. Many counties have now created these non-emergency numbers. Again, in Greenville County, that number 864-271-5210. We also got an update from officials on debris collection, saying that yard debris will be collected periodically from all county roads. You can place your debris on the edge of the road. A reminder, do not put it in bags, officials ask. We will, of course, So new information coming into us at all times this afternoon. We are expecting an update this afternoon from South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. Once that begins, we will bring that to you live. Also this afternoon, we are expecting an update from officials in Cherokee County. We will have all of that information for you to do. So do stay here with WYFF News 4. And if you would like to help, this is the way to do it. Right there on your screen, you can scan that, and that will allow you to donate to the American Red Cross. The officials with the American Red Cross also asking for monetary and financial and donations of blood. Right now we want to send you to Columbia, and South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster is beginning his press conference there.
I have a mantra today that I've been sharing with people, and it's from Winston Churchill. He said, when you're going through hell, keep going. And South Carolina has once again been tested, and as always, South Carolina will be resilient. We're a state with a rich history of banding together when life gets difficult. We're resolute, we're strong, we're proud, and we will keep going. We are South Carolina. So let's pray. Lord, shine down upon us, unite us in purpose, be with us in helping others, and watch over those who are hurting and suffering. Bring healing upon them. Give us strength to keep going. We pray this in your name, Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. Well, here's some numbers to start with. As you will recall, on Friday, we 3 million power customers in the state. On Friday, we were at outages 1,300,000. On Saturday, it had gone down to 1,200,000. On Sunday, it was 904,209. That's on Sunday. On Monday, it was 745,593. 745,593. And today, a little while ago, it was 629,979. Again, 629,979. And by now, I presume with all the people that we have out there working, it's probably a lot less than that now. But we're making progress. Again, we have the whole team on the field, and it's growing every day. I want to take a moment and sadly announce that we have, as of now, 36 confirmed deaths as a result of the storm. It's going up, and there'll likely be more. We hope not. To compare with Hugo in 1988, there were 35 deaths. That, of course, hit the coast real hard. Comparison, North Carolina, I believe there they have 600 people still missing and over 100 known deaths from the storm. So this has really hit our region hard. The declaration, our state has enjoyed success in getting our declarations accepted by the federal government, and we've asked for an expedited declaration this time. And as you know, it was approved, and that is based on information that we receive from the counties and can send in to get approved. And as you know, they're for public assistance. This is not the private assistance that the citizens do for themselves directly with FEMA in those counties that have been so designated by FEMA, but the public assistance that goes to the public institutions, towns, cities, state government structures. And we originally received, as you know, the okay for these counties: Aiken, Anderson, Bamberg, Barnwell, Cherokee, Greenville, Greenwood, Newberry, Oconee, Pickens, Saluda, and Spartanburg. So we were successful in receiving that on an emergency expedited basis, and that was very, very good. But we are now working to receive the information. We're awaiting information from other counties as well, and we anticipate that FEMA will be able to include a number of them soon. We hope, we anticipate. We're receiving information and sending it in, and those are as follows: Allendale, Abbeville, Edgefield, Lawrence, McCormick, Richland, and Union. I'll repeat that: Allendale, Abbeville, Edgefield, Lawrence, McCormick, Richland, and Union. And we believe we will have success once we have enough information received where we can send that in, but we're anticipating success. We again have the entire team on the line now. The numbers are enormous for those that are participating in the effort. The National Guard now has 973 soldiers out on duty. We have 18 chainsaw teams out there. We have more coming from Florida and from Michigan and Virginia. They're arriving, and we're building. And so things are getting better, but we're not out of the woods yet. There's still a lot of power lines down, and as you know, in this storm has knocked down trees, which knocked down power lines, which caused everything that runs on electricity to stop. And we still have this choke point. Although we're getting more and more chainsaw crews, we still have to be careful. The companies have to be careful, and those that they get to assist have to be careful. We can't remove the debris, the trees off of the power lines until we get the power lines turned off. So that is a choke. That's something that's a little different from ice storms and other things that we've had. We have telephone poles down. In an ice storm, usually don't get that. But so that is the thing that's hindering. But we're working hard to work through that. And with this team, we've got a magnificent team, and you'll hear from some of them right now. We're looking for great success. The Congaree River, we're told, has crested. But there's downstream, there are some rivers that have not crested. So we would ask everybody to be on the lookout from their local sources, particularly as to when and where to expect those floodings. But there's going to be some more flooding. We don't think it'll be anything that we haven't seen before, but we're going to have some pretty good flooding. So be sure to check for your local information on that, and also we'll be providing what we have. Andrew Phillips, Chief of Preparedness, South Carolina Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, Governor. SCMD continues to coordinate with SCD&R Flood Mitigation Program and National Weather Service hydrologists ongoing the river flooding the governor just mentioned.
Slow down
Yes,
a
sir.
little bit.
Yes, sir. Gotcha. Most of the rivers in the western half of the state are still elevated, but they are starting to go down. As the governor mentioned, some of the ones we talked about in the press conference yesterday, the Congaree River in Columbia, that did crest yesterday late morning into the early afternoon hours and has fallen about 10 feet since then. It's still elevated, but it is now in minor flood stage. And then in Kershaw County, the Wateree River, that continues to go down as well, so that is now into moderate flood stage. But as the governor mentioned, we do have some rivers across the eastern portion of the state which continue to rise. So those are the ones we're looking at as the water continues to move downstream. But I do want to emphasize the impacts from this river flooding will be mainly limited to the flood-prone areas along the river. Impacts are not currently expected outside of these areas, even though these rivers continue to rise. So some of those rivers are the PD River is forecast to arrive into moderate flood stage on Wednesday, so tomorrow. Santee River near Jamestown, that's along the Georgetown, Williamsburg, Berkeley County area, is forecast to rise into major flood stage on Thursday or Friday. We continue to coordinate with emergency management officials in that area, and they are closely monitoring the forecast as well along the Santee River. Continue to coordinate with Santee Cooper as well, and they will be conducting public messaging to those that could potentially be impacted by this river flooding, and they issue alerts to communities that are along the river about the potential for this. So that is what we are encouraging. We're urging everyone along these rivers to listen to messages from local officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Andrew Bateman, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you, Governor McMaster. Andrew Bateman, South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff. We continue to work with utilities and our agency partners in an effort to restore power across the state. As Governor McMaster mentioned earlier in the press conference, outages do continue to drop. Briefly, I'll detail where the state lies and where the individual utilities lie currently. As Governor McMaster mentioned, the total for South Carolina as of a few hours ago, so he mentioned it has undoubtedly gone down since then by some degree, was 629,979. The top 3 counties are Greenville County at 165,137, Spartanburg County at 135,951, and Aiken County at 62,316. Dominion stands currently at about 75,000, Duke at about 395,000, and their cooperatives at about 148,000. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thanks, sir. Kim Stinson, South Carolina Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, sir. Kim Stinson, State EMD. The State Emergency Operations Center remains at operating condition 1, which is our highest readiness state. The priorities really haven't changed for us. Continuing maintaining communications, clearing roadways, power restoration, shelter operations, and food and water distribution. We currently have 11 of our personnel deployed to 11 counties in the most impacted areas to assist local authorities in responding to this event. County governments, the operational focus in those particular areas, in those counties, similar to ours, is power restoration, road clearing operations, sheltering, and food and water distribution. Damage assessment is ongoing in many counties, but we do have some updated information. On the residential side, 18 counties are reporting over 1,500 damaged homes, of which 66 are destroyed and 517 with major damage. Public assistance costs, that's the infrastructure damage and emergency protective measures, are being reported by 36 counties for a total of $16 million. And both of those are subject to change here as we move forward. And they went up significantly since yesterday. County governments are closed in 8 counties with 1 county on delay today, and that's trending down, which is a good sign. In the logistics area, we have actioned 599 requests, of which 241 have been completed and 358 are in progress. The most requests have been for food, water, fuel, and chainsaws. And so far, we have distributed 274,000 meals, 281,000 liters of water, and 3,500 tarps. On the federal side, as the governor just spoke to, is that we've got a major push to rapidly add those counties that he identified on the individual assistance and infrastructure repair and restoration reimbursements. And there may be more added as we move forward, but we're working with FEMA and then also gathering additional information so we have sufficient information to add those counties to the federal declaration. A reminder for everybody to stay informed and up to date using reliable sources. Misinformation is dangerous, and even if it's well-intentioned. So please rely on official channels such as SCEMD and your local emergency management offices for accurate information. And residents here in South Carolina who have questions can call our state's public information phone system, our Hurricane Helene hotline at 1-866-246-0133. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Brigadier General Robert Stilwell, National Guard.
Thank you, Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Currently committed to the response, we have 894 Army National Guardsmen. We have 34 Air National Guardsmen and 35 State Guardsmen for a total of 963 service members responding to the event. We're continuing to build capacity. For example, we have a Florida National Guard engineer unit that is coming into our state today to assist our engineering effort in the impacted counties. We stand ready to ask for additional assistance from other states as necessary. Currently, in the impacted areas, we're assisting county authorities with debris removal, with chainsaw teams, and with general purpose troops. We're continuing to assist North Carolina with helicopter rescue missions in the affected areas. Ladies and gentlemen, the South Carolina National Guard is on duty, on station, and stands ready to support our friends, our neighbors, and our families. Thank you very much.
Question. We have 2 helicopter rescue units in North Carolina, but we have 2 here. and we have all we need.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
Absolutely, sir. We have retained helicopter aquatic rescue teams in South Carolina that can respond to any of the issues that we have. We can also remission and retask those units that are assisting North Carolina.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Secretary Justin Powell, Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. Justin Powell, Secretary of Transportation. SCDOT continues its 24-hour operations in response to Hurricane Helene. We have been working to restore mobility to the western half of South Carolina. We've supplemented our crews in the affected area with 87 additional crews that continue to make progress in removing trees and reopening roads. I got the opportunity this morning to visit operations in Edgefield and McCormick County. Our team spirits are high, and our crews continue.
We want to bring you now to Cherokee County, South Carolina, where officials are sharing an update. Let's listen in.
County has found itself right in the thick of it. First, let me say that it is refreshing to see so many giving so much of themselves for the common man. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers helping strangers. We thank you. We are building a stronger Team Cherokee every minute. Let's start at the beginning. Our emergency management began tracing the storm earlier last week. At that time, we began coordinating critical areas with emergency management in both the state and the local areas with 911, public safety, fire department, hospital, EMS, and more. On Friday, September the 27th, the Cherokee County Council signed a declaration of emergency. This allowed Team Cherokee to coordinate with the state of South Carolina, the emergency management system. Right then, we began putting in requests for food, oxygen, gas and diesel for our public safety and other vital needs for both our citizens and our public safety. We have continued to put in requests throughout the recovery process. Team Cherokee hosts a daily meeting at 9 a.m., which began with a state briefing. We make sure crucial stakeholders are at the table to discuss current events, efforts, and needs, including representation from local power companies, to ensure that the public is informed at a time when many are without power and internet. We have been working overtime to get the message out there through social media and our website, mass text, and from our school districts, the Code Red system, local media text, and much, much more. Staffed by volunteers, we have created a telephone hotline for people affected by the storm to use, even though phones and internets have been down. Team Cherokee has worked to coordinate with state recovery with the assistance from so many at the local and state level, including many of our community organizations. There have been so much and so many people who have lended a hand that I don't want to start by naming names and leaving someone off. It's truly been a Team Cherokee effort that includes our entire community, county, and so many amazing friends and partners from across the state. Like I said at the beginning, it's truly neighbors helping neighbors, and quite honestly, it warms our heart to see so many people pitching in to help each other. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Bowers. He is our Emergency Management Director.
Good afternoon. Like Administrator Bishop said, on the night of September 26th into the 27th, Hurricane Helen struck Cherokee County. Helen caused widespread damage across the county. We were fortunate enough to not have any fatalities during the storm. A local state of emergency was declared by our county council during the storm, and since then, our emergency services have responded to over 2,000 calls for service, including 9 structure fires, 428 EMS calls, 51 car accidents, and 1 hazardous materials call, and 564 calls for trees and power lines down. At the height of the incident, 91% of Cherokee County was without power. We are currently at 44% as of right now. We're making gains every day. I was in contact with our utility partners today. all have stated they hope to have the bulk of Cherokee County back online by this weekend. There will still be areas of the county that are going to be out for an extended period of time, but those numbers should be growing smaller every day. Broad River set a record, cresting at over 2.5 feet over the historic crest. We still have multiple roads closed throughout the county, either from washouts, from the floodwaters, or from trees and power lines that are still down. We currently have one shelter that is open at Kirby Memorial Church on Chandler Drive in Gaffney. We have 2 points of distribution that are giving away food and water to those that need it. First one is located at the Broad River Baptist Church on West Cherokee Street in Blacksburg. The second at the Midway Complex off of Midway Road in Gaffney. We have multiple damage assessment teams that are out covering the county, along with our CERT members that are out doing windshield assessments, looking for homes that have damage. Our roadway clearing is continuing with county, city, town of Blacksburg, SCDOT, and National Guard troops. Our landfill is open with extended hours, and they have asked that please do not mix loads. If you're bringing storm debris, only bring storm debris. As Administrator Bishop said, we've got multiple organizations that have been helping us out, and we want to thank all of them for everything they've done. All Cherokee County schools are closed for the remainder of the week. Cherokee County offices will open tomorrow. Town of Blacksburg will be closed tomorrow, and they will reevaluate at that time. City of Gaffney offices are currently open at this time. I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Sheriff Mueller to brief on the...
Could you go over real fast those figures, 2,000 calls and stuff like that real fast?
Yes, sir.
2,000 calls and whatever, house fires, and all those, you know, about 4 or 5 figures real fast.
Yeah, 9 structure fires,
Okay.
428 EMS calls, 51 motor vehicle accidents, 1 hazardous materials call, and 564 calls for trees or power lines down.
Thank y'all for being here today. It's crucial that we remind the public that we're still in the recovery efforts. Still a lot going on. There's a lot of hazards that exist in our community and other places where they may be out driving. But it's crucial that we remind our people here in Cherokee County and even throughout the upstate, do not call 911 unless it's an emergency. We need to keep those 911 emergency lines open for true emergencies. Please use the non-emergency lines and the business lines for all other calls for any type of assistance. Please do not call 911 to report your power outages. Please contact your power provider. We're still getting lots and lots of calls, folks reporting power out to our 911 centers. As you can see, roughly we have a large portion of our county still without power. Road clearing is still in progress, so citizens are urged not to attempt to remove any trees that they see blocking a roadway, especially if they are tangled power lines within those trees. That is a risk to their safety, their life, and those trees have been left there for a reason until the power companies deem it safe. Then the county, state crews will begin to remove those trees from the roadway and get them opened back up. Please do not remove barricades. We've had incidents throughout the county over the past several days where motorists are moving barricades and driving around it. Those barricades are there for a reason. Some of the roads are flooded. If you see a flooded roadway, please turn around, don't drive through it. And just because you may not see anything there, the road may be undermined and there's nothing holding up the structure of the roadway. The weight of your vehicle could cause it to collapse and fall into a hole, a creek, a drainage ditch, etc. So please do not drive around or move barricades that are up there for the public safety. For those who are using generators to power their homes, please make sure that those are moved away from your houses to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. We want to make sure that we don't have any deaths related to carbon monoxide poisoning. Fuel is getting better and better by the hour. The long lines have dissipated, and now you can pull up to most gas stations and get your gas. And so, again, we ask people, don't go out and get gas unless you absolutely need it. The power is back on at the fuel depot in Spartanburg, and the gas is coming. Our greatest challenge over the past few days was the stations who simply didn't have power versus the ones who had power, and everyone was going to those locations to obtain fuel, which created the bottlenecks and problems with the fuel. So please keep that in mind. As our EM director has shared with you, there's 2 pods that law enforcement is staffing where water and food distribution is taking place, along with shelter that is being staffed by all of the law enforcement partners in Cherokee County, with Gaffney City doing the shelter at Kirby Church, Blacksburg PD and the Sheriff's Office doing the 2 pods where water and food distribution is taking place. And we'd be remiss if we did not thank our state partners. We have SLED agents on the ground here in our county, along with the South Carolina Highway Patrol, South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, and South Carolina Triple P. And almost every single sheriff in the entire upstate and that joins us have called to make sure that if we got resources we need, they're bringing them to us. If we have resources they need, we're sharing it. And we had Marion County Sheriff, which is not an adjoining county, but they brought a group up here last night on behalf of the Broad River Baptist Association to bring generators up here for our county. So it's truly, as we say, a Team Cherokee effort, but it's truly a statewide effort to get the resources that we need to help our citizens and to start the recovery process. And so there's so many people to thank, and that list will continue to grow each and every day as we continue this recovery process here in Cherokee County. And again, we have been blessed. We live in a community where people always want to come together and help. Our churches have risen to the challenge in doing so many different things, from feeding our first responders to preparing meals for others. And so it's a blessing to see that. As you see what happened as a result of this storm, we had a lot of damage here, but there's a lot of places that are in much worse shape and condition than we are. So we have to look for that silver lining and say, you know what, we're blessed. But it's even, it does myself wonders to see the people come together and work. The people in this room, the agencies, our partners that are involved, from both the nonprofits to the government entities and non-government entities who are helping with this process. It's just been simply amazing. I will ask our citizens, we're all frustrated. I'm tired of taking cold showers, and 5 days in now, but continue to have patience. I've reminded our staff, I remind everybody in this room daily, continue to have patience, have a presence of mind to be compassionate toward others, and have that mindset to extend some grace. We're going to get through this one day at a time, and as the power comes on, things will get better and better and better for each and every one of us. And so that's the greatest challenge for us now, is seeing our power return. Dr. White, our school superintendent, was not available to be here today, but there's one thing he wanted me to share with our community. Obviously, school is out for the rest of the week, but tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday from 12 noon, for anyone in the community that has a need for food, they will be serving meals at the Blacksburg Middle School and the Gaffney High School starting at 12 noon until food runs out. That will be on Wednesday, October the 1st, and Thursday, October the 2nd. So we know people are struggling to find food and things like that, so there's plenty of resources available in our community. Please take advantage of that. And again, we have been truly blessed, and as our administrator said, you hate to start naming folks off because you feel like you're going to leave somebody out, but our National Guard has been deployed here in Cherokee County as well and done a tremendous job to help us with road clearing and cutting up trees and other tasks and projects. So again, we're just grateful for the efforts put forth by everybody. And Cherokee County, we will grow, we will get better, and we'll be stronger after this, and just continue to exercise patience as we get through these next few days and in the weeks of recovery that are ahead of us. Thank you.
Three things I'd like to add, because we do have a citizens hotline created that can answer questions on food, shelter, and volunteer sign up. That number is 864-487-2587. Again, it's 864-487-2587. We will have limited trash pickup tomorrow. Our sanitation workers will only be going down roads that they know they can get down. I'm not putting the safety of our guys in any danger. So just bear with them. But Wednesday will be Wednesday's schedule, and that will start again tomorrow. Well, I know one of the questions that keeps coming in through our Facebook is about our South Carolina Department DMV fees. So they did pass a thing yesterday from the governor that will allow them an extension on their tag fees. Late fees will be extended through November the 1st of 2024. So we'll open it up now, Larry and Mr. Brock, if y'all have any questions.
Sheriff, today's October 1st, so you meant the 2nd and 3rd?
That is correct, sir. I am in error on that. I've very little sleep over the past few days, and the day is October the 1st, so they will be doing the feeding on Wednesday the 2nd and Thursday the 3rd. Thank you, Larry.
Is all fear of any more flooding with Broad River pretty much ended right now, or do y'all expect anything that's coming out of the North Carolina receding waters?
No, Lake Lure has been deemed that it is no longer a threat for imminent failure, and Broad River has receded back to near normal levels at this time.
Good.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You have been listening to an update from officials in Cherokee County there. Now we want to take you back to Columbia, where Governor Henry McMaster and state officials continue to give us an update. Let's listen in.
989. And then finally, I just wanted to mention debris management strategy. I think, as we continue and the counties continue to get out there and assess the damages, we're probably going to see volumes of debris that maybe we've never anticipated before. And that's why it's so important for us to have a good state strategy as far as debris management. And I just want to publicly thank all of our many partners. You've already heard from some of, like the Guard and so many folks that are helping collect this debris. But then the debris's got to go somewhere once it's collected, and it's going to be very important for us to manage it appropriately. We're working very closely with our county partners who are identifying staging areas that we can bring the collected materials, and then we need to think about where that material is going to go. And we have businesses across the state that are really stepping up, being part of this solution with us. We have some businesses that have boilers that can use chips as fuel in their boilers, and they are stepping up to offer that assistance. We also have businesses that have wood chippers, equipment like that, and also recyclers that produce landscaping mulch. So all of these folks are stepping up and helping our state come up with a very good debris management strategy, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Marcia Adams, South Carolina Department of Administration.
Yes, thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, Marcia Adams, Department of Administration. I just want to say thank you to all of the citizens across the state who have volunteered to help and volunteered to make donations. We continue to work with the counties to determine their immediate needs for donated goods and volunteers. And as I've mentioned before, donated goods require transportation and warehousing. So oftentimes the most effective offer to meet those immediate needs are monetary donations. Charitable organizations assisting South Carolina victims can buy the exact items needed for those victims. On the SCEMD website at scemd.org/recovery/volunteer and donate is a list of all of the organizations who are accepting monetary donations of goods or food. For people interested in volunteering, please visit that website also, and it has a link to volunteersc.org to register, managed by the United Way. Many of these volunteer opportunities do require some training, and we want people to be safe during their response and recovery operations. We do ask volunteers not to self-deploy, as unexpectedly showing up will create an additional burden for the first responders. As public officials and disaster relief organizations identify the specific needs, they will be contacted. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for everything that the citizens of the state are doing to help each other. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief Ben Duncan, Office of Resilience.
Thank you, Governor. Ben Duncan, Chief Resilience Officer, South Carolina Office of Resilience. We continue to coordinate with EMD with our recovery efforts and our mitigation efforts. We are lending personnel to EMD to help with disaster assessments. In the recovery efforts, we are well prepared with case management. We have case managers who are ready to fill in as soon as the recovery centers are open to assist people with all needs. It could be food, clothing, housing, whatever the need may be. We are there to assist them. We have a long record with recovery and long-term recovery. We've repaired from the previous storms more than 3,454 homes. This is a fantastic recovery effort that we have in place. We have the talent and people ready to move forward with it. Lastly, we would like to let you know that if there are any donations that need to be made, that they could be made through GWES Fund. They have a history of assisting disaster victims from 2015 flood, Hurricane Matthew of 2016, and Hurricane Florence of 2018. The Central Carolina Community Foundation is the parent of the SC1. Their telephone number is 803-254-5601. Again, that's 803-254-5601. And they have assisted more than 2,000 individuals in the previous storms that we've had. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Ben Duncan. Just a couple of things to finish up with. You may want to know these numbers from Dominion, Duke, and the co-ops that are going down with outages. Yesterday, Dominion had 99,677. Today, they're down to 75,734. Duke yesterday was at 468,647. That's 468,647. Today they're down to 395,795. And yesterday the co-ops were at 177,269. And today they're down to 148,918. So you can see they're dropping. Went from 745,593 yesterday to 629,979, and they're still going down right now as we speak. One final note, because of what we're seeing of these tragic deaths with trees falling on houses, falling on vehicles, people getting washed off the road, people trying to get out of the way of something in the road and running off the road. We know we don't want to have any more tragedies. So we just urge everyone to remember a few things. One, where the rivers are going to be flooding, they haven't crested yet. Be prepared for that water. And also, as the water goes up in places, some of the animals that are in those dry places look for dry places to go, so you might encounter some animals. Be careful. Also, the generators in homes or near homes and garages, we seem to always have deaths associated with those. Also, of course, electric shock. Don't go close to any wire. Every wire you see on the ground is fully charged and flowing with electricity, so stay away. Also, candles. We've had candle deaths with fires in homes. So far, I don't think we've had any deaths from bad food or bad water, but as the refrigerators are not working, we hope that people will throw the bad food away. Don't test it. Don't ever drive through ponded water on a road. You may know the road, you may think this only a foot thick, but it may be washed out. It might be a hole there. There's no telling what could happen. And also, again, don't let this be the first time you use a chainsaw. Let the experts use those things because they can hurt you. And also be careful about all the debris that you've heard is going to be on the side of the road for weeks. Once we get it out and get all power started back. Then we'll start removing all of that debris. But it's going to be on the side of the road. Some of it may shift, fall in the road. So day or night, be careful for debris that may be in your way. With that, are there any questions?
Governor, the White House announced today that President Biden would be coming through the Carolinas tomorrow. Didn't really offer a whole lot of details about who he will be meeting in South Carolina or where exactly he will go. Do you plan to meet with the president? Can you offer any other information about that visit?
Well, I know they're coming out. They ought to be the ones to announce all of that. I plan on being in the upstate some tomorrow. So I have no announcement to make.
Okay. Would you like to meet the president tomorrow to discuss
I've met the president many times before.
Well, let me ask it this way. As of today, what has been the ongoing kind of federal assistance for South Carolina?
It's been superb. I finally was able to speak to the president yesterday afternoon after he missed me and I missed him leaving. He left a voicemail, I left a voicemail. So we finally connected yesterday afternoon. He said that whatever we need to let him know, and we're doing that. Also, Secretary Buttigieg called yesterday and said the same thing, and also Deanie Criswell from FEMA has also called. So, and a number of the governors have called. So we're getting assistance, and we're asking for everything we need. And fortunately, we have a great team that's got a lot of experience and a lot of vision, and they're able to make full use of all these assets.
Governor, to follow up, former President Trump was critical of President Biden, saying he's not sending aid to Republican areas. Are those comments helpful from the former president? Should he be weighing in on this?
Those are questions for President Biden and President Trump.
I have a question for Director Svensson. If you could, is there a way to kind of talk about, you mentioned the $16 million figure as far as damage goes and that's going to go higher. Is there a way to provide somewhat of a breakdown of where some of that money is coming from, or exactly what damage you're talking about as far as the $16 million?
Well, it's a variety of areas. It could be emergency protective measures related to the event. Certainly all the food that's been distributed, that sort of thing. There is some infrastructure damage out there on some of the roads and bridges, and so that'll all be included in there. And we've got, the information we have right now is certainly not final by any amount. So,
do you have a guess of what the total may be in the end?
I'm reluctant to do that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be higher than the $16 million that we have right now.
Do you have any update on cell tower outages and what might be happening with those? Some people in the upstate were saying they're still experiencing difficulty with connectivity.
Yes. Yesterday, statewide cell outages across the state was 13%. Today, it's 9%. And someone asked about towers yesterday. That represents 650 towers out of a total of 7,500. And the most affected counties are Abbeville, McCormick, and Lawrence, and they're working on that.
On those, is it all the carriers are affected, or is there one carrier that's affected more than others?
I'd have to get you that information. I'm not sure, but I think all carriers have some of outages. But I can get you the information by carrier.
Any indication, is it power related, or is it like telco infrastructure related? And will they be kind of reassessing those sites in the future to see if backup generators fail, that type of thing?
I'm not sure. I know some is power and some is the infrastructure. I have to get you that information, and I'm sure after this storm they will be reassessing just to make sure that if there's any lessons learned, they can put those into action.
I have a question about the dam. Are the privately owned dam owners qualified capable enough to inspect some of the integrity of the dams as certified engineers?
Our dam owners, and certainly the ones that even have some of the smaller dams that are not regulated by the state, many of the things that you look for is, number one, you've got to know if you were to have a breach of that dam, who would be impacted. So those smaller dams, basically, it will just be the dam owner's property, okay? So it's really an investment that he's protecting. And what, if I was a private well owner, a smaller impoundment, I would be protecting that investment, and then I would make sure that when I had rain events, I was, watching the water levels and also clearing that spillway.
Governor, with the dock workers strike now begun for the last 12 plus hours here, is the state anticipating any sort of effects on the supply chain that could concern recovery and resources?
We have not categorized that, but of course there will be some impact. We don't know how long it's going to last. It just started, but there's nothing moving in and out of the port, is my understanding now. So it's at some point that will be certainly be an impact.
Has the state, or did the state do anything to prepare for this? Obviously, knowing the state was coming, and is there any really workaround to ensure that supplies are still able to get here?
It's very difficult to work around a strike of the entire Atlantic and Gulf Coast. But it's been in the news, and people are aware that it was coming. Suppliers, shippers, we've got a lot of logistics that flew from that port, and I'm confident that everyone that is involved in that on either end are aware of it and did whatever they could. But we cannot settle the strike between the carriers and the union.
You all mentioned some of the resources that we've sent to North Carolina. Do you anticipate sending any more resources over to North Carolina in the coming days or weeks?
If we don't need what we have, and they do, then certainly we'll send it. That's our rule, is if we need something, we can't send it away to any place else. So that's why we have 2 of those 4 helicopter aquatic rescue teams. 2 of them have gone there.
So as of this moment, for now, those will be the only 2 things that are in North Carolina from South Carolina. Okay.
Now we have some troops deployed overseas, National Guard.
Governor, have you spoken to any of the larger grocers, the Walmarts, the Publix, even the Piggly Wigglies, to see what's being done to bring additional food to replace some of the stock that some of the stores have lost during the power outages?
I have not discussed that with them, no. But we've discussed a lot of things with a lot of people trying to get the power back on.
As far as the declaration that President Biden signed, I know some of the counties were left out of that. You said some of those counties are still reevaluating whether or not they can be a part of that declaration. When you think about like Richland County, who is in charge of making that assessment? Is that a FEMA?
All of the county officials, of course, they gather whatever information they can and send it in to us, and it will go to FEMA, and an evaluation is made. We've been fortunate over the years in getting these expedited declarations from the government, from the federal government, and I think we have built up some confidence when we send our information in. And so as soon as we have the information from the counties, as soon as we receive it, we send it in as quickly as we can, so they can make that determination.
Some of those counties don't have the employees or the manpower to do those assessments. Does the state step in and help with the assessments?
We try to whatever we can do to help or encourage, we do. But ultimately, that's a county officials. Normally, once they have a chance to assess things, and it takes a little time sometimes, then the process moves pretty quickly. And again, just getting the emergency declaration is a big step.
I know there are some counties that have had gas shortages. Is there any kind of update as far as what that looks like now, whether there have been trucks coming in able to re-up that supply?
Well, we know that the pipeline going through Belton and Spartanburg, we know they're working just fine, and Augusta was out and then was on momentarily, and I think maybe it's back on now. So coming in, we have very few stations that have no gas. The problem is if they don't have electricity, then if they've got a full tank below the ground, they can't pump it up. So that's Andrew, you want to answer that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. Yes, to follow up a little bit on what the governor was saying, when we talked with our contact at Colonial Pipeline, I don't think there is a shortage of gasoline itself. We did do some digging to figure out which gas stations actually are in operation. I have regions, the Columbia region, GSP, Aiken, Augusta, and the Savannah region, and it has a percentage as to which gas stations are closed. And for each of those 4 regions, at least based on the data we've got right now, the percentages are under 5% for each of those regions. So based on the data we have, there's gas, and most of the gas stations at this point in time are now open.
Two more questions to be allowed.
On the additional deaths that have been confirmed, can you say what those were a result of? Was it generators? Was it trees falling?
Yes, ma'am. Rob Woods, DPS. Yes, I will. The governor's already covered most of the circumstances. The overwhelming majority of those have been from fallen trees. So that's where we're seeing it. What I can do is give you the list of the counties. What we have done at DPS is work directly with the coroners in each county to verify the deaths themselves. They have the particulars involving each one of those deaths, but what the governor's already outlined is pretty much the sweep of what the cause of death are. But if you'd like me to, I can provide you with that information, and you can go back to the individual counties and get the specifics on those.
I see we have a rep from FEMA here today. Can we have any kind of update, or is there any kind of information as to where they are in their progress and what resources they're bringing to Team S, South Carolina?
Good afternoon. I'm Brett Howard. I'm the Federal Coordinating Officer. We are currently in support of South Carolina and the governor's team here, as you've heard from all of them and the local responders that are out doing what it is they do. It is an enormous impact to this state. The great thing and the easy job FEMA's had has been helping and assisting the state. As all of us know, that disasters are all local. They're locally executed, they're state managed, and they're federally supported. And I stand here supporting the state of South Carolina with the full force of the federal government. We have been asked to bring in new SAR teams, and they're here. We've found oxygen for public health and having it brought in. The most important thing was helping to expedite that declaration, to get the hard work out of the way. And Director Stinson's team, the governor's team, providing us the stuff we needed to expedite that major declaration helps speed up things. I know there's counties left out, and that's a big thing, but we went with what we had to get assistance to the survivors. We're here to support the state, and we're here for every survivor for this disaster. Currently, I think as of midday today, we've had over 64,000 registrations in the FEMA, so that needs to continue because some of those issues that with private wells and things, there's assistance from us to help do that. We are currently going to have DSA, Disaster Survivor Assistance teams out in the neighborhoods helping register. I think DRCs were mentioned. We're working with the state at their discretion of where those need to be set up. And like the governor said, the president told him whatever he wants. And I'm here to make sure that we can give him as much as he needs. And I don't think we've missed anything yet, Governor. I think we've answered the call on everything that the state has required, and we stand ready to bring in whatever else it takes. And I look forward to being here through all of this. We're not going anywhere. This isn't a 2-day. This isn't a week-long event like the governor said. This is a marathon. We're going to be here for a while to make sure the state recovers and we get through this response and we get South Carolina and upstate rebuilt. Thank you, Governor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have been listening to updates from officials throughout our area this afternoon, and we do want to share with you an update on the Greenville County councilman who we learned fainted during this afternoon's press conference in Greenville County. We've learned Councilman Alan Mitchell from District 23 said that he skipped breakfast and it must have caught up with him. He said he is doing well and plans on attending tonight's county council meeting. We also want to update you on some of that information that's come into our newsroom over the past few hours from counties all around our area. Starting with more information we learned in Greenville County, officials say 59% of Greenville County residents still do not have power today. That is, however, down from yesterday afternoon when officials said 72% of the county was without power. Officials said there are still search and rescue teams working and there are still people trapped behind trees and wires. So they say even if your power is restored, officials ask that you try to stay off the roads if you can and avoid driving at night if you can. We also learned in Greenville County that offices, administration, and courts are now operating on a normal schedule, and individuals and businesses impacted by the storm can apply for FEMA help. That is the case in many counties around the upstate right now. You can find a link on WYFF4.com with more information on how to apply for that help. Also this afternoon, we did receive an update from officials in Cherokee County. That was just about an hour and a half ago. An update now from Cherokee County, where authorities say 44% of people in Cherokee County are without power. They are hoping to get the bulk of the county back online by this weekend. That is the case in so many counties around our area. Officials there in Cherokee County and in many counties, we've heard this afternoon, are emphasizing that 911 should only be called for emergencies. Many counties in our area have set up what they're calling citizen hotlines. These are for non-emergency related calls or any questions that you might have. In Cherokee County, authorities shared that the number for that citizen hotline is 864-487-2587. Officials say in Cherokee County that they are grateful that there were no fatalities there in Cherokee County from the storm. As we've shared, we have been listening to an update from South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster and officials in South Carolina. The governor sharing some notes. I just want to get to my notes right here to share that with you. Statewide, 629,979 people in South Carolina are without power. That is down from 1,300,000 on Friday. The top two counties in the state with power outages are Greenville and Spartanburg County right now. The governor also shared that the number of deaths in South Carolina as a result of this storm has now surpassed the number of deaths from Hurricane Hugo. That storm killed 35 people. Helene has now resulted in 36 confirmed deaths, and Governor McMaster said sadly that number is expected to grow. We do want to bring you now to a portion of the update from Governor Henry McMaster that we were not able to share with you here on air at the time because we were listening to some updates from other counties. Let's go ahead and listen now to that update from Governor McMaster and state officials.
Well, here's some numbers to start with. As you will recall, on Friday, we 3 million power customers in the state. On Friday, we were at outages 1,300,000. On Saturday, it had gone down to 1,200,000. On Sunday, it was 904,209. That's on Sunday. On Monday, it was 745,593. 745,593, and today, a little while ago, it was 629,979. Again, 629,979, and by now, I presume with all the people that we have out there working, it's probably a lot less than that now. But we're making progress. Again, we have the whole team on the field, and it's growing every day. I want to take a moment and sadly announce that we have, as of now, 36 confirmed deaths as a result of the storm. It's going up, and there'll likely be more. We hope not. To compare with Hugo in 1988, there were 35 deaths. That, of course, hit the coast real hard. Comparison, North Carolina, I believe there they have 600 people still missing and over 100 known deaths from the storm. So this has really hit our region hard. The declaration, our state has enjoyed success in getting our declarations accepted by the federal government, and we've asked for an expedited declaration this time. As you know, it was approved, and that is based on information that we receive from the counties and can send in to get approved. And as you know, they're for public assistance. This is not the private assistance that the citizens do for themselves directly with FEMA in those counties that have been so designated by FEMA. But the public assistance that goes to the public institutions, towns, cities, state government structures. And we originally received, as you know, the okay for these counties: Aiken, Anderson, Bamberg, Barnwell, Cherokee, Greenville, Greenwood, Newberry, Oconee, Pickens, Saluda, and Spartanburg. So we were successful in receiving that on an emergency expedited basis, and that was very, very good. But we are now working to receive the information. We're awaiting information from other counties as well, and we anticipate that FEMA will be able to include a number of them soon. We hope, we anticipate. We're receiving information and sending it in, and those are as follows: Allendale, Abbeville, Edgefield, Lawrence, McCormick, Richland, and Union. I'll repeat that: Allendale, Abbeville, Edgefield, Lawrence, McCormick, Richland, and Union. And we believe we will have success once we have enough information received to where we can send that in, but we're anticipating success. We again have the entire team on the line now. The numbers are enormous for those that are participating in the effort. The National Guard now has 973 soldiers out on duty. We have 18 chainsaw teams out there. We have more coming from Florida and from Michigan and Virginia. They're arriving, and we're building. And so things are getting better, but we're not out of the woods yet. There's still a lot of power lines down, and as you know, in this storm has knocked down trees, which knocked down power lines, which caused everything that runs on electricity to stop. And we still have this choke point. Although we're getting more and more chainsaw crews, we still have to be careful. The companies have to be careful, and those that they get to assist have to be careful. We can't remove the debris, the trees, off of the power lines until we get the power lines turned off. So that is a choke. That's something that's a little different from ice storms and other things that we've had. We have telephone poles down. In an ice storm, usually don't get that. But so that is the thing that's hindering. But we're working hard to work through that. And with this team, we've got a magnificent team, and you'll hear from some of them right now. We're looking for great success. The Congaree River, we're told, has crested. But there's downstream, there are some rivers that have not crested. So we would ask everybody to be on the lookout from their local sources, particularly as to when and where to expect those floodings. But there's going to be some more flooding. We don't think it'll be anything that we haven't seen before, but we're going to have some pretty good flooding. So be sure to check for your local information on that, and also we'll be providing what we have. Andrew Phillips, Chief of Preparedness, South Carolina Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, Governor. And SCMD continues to coordinate with SCD&R Flood Mitigation Program and National Weather Service hydrologists ongoing the river flooding the Governor just mentioned.
Slow down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gotcha. Most of the rivers in the western half of the state are still elevated, but they are starting to go down. As the Governor mentioned, some of the ones we talked about in the press conference yesterday, the Congaree River in Columbia, that did crest yesterday late morning into the early afternoon hours and has fallen about 10 feet since then. It's still elevated, but it is now in minor flood stage. And then in Kershaw County, the Wateree River, that continues to go down as well, so that is now into moderate flood stage. But as the Governor mentioned, we do have some rivers across the eastern portion of the state which continue to rise. So those are the ones we're looking at as the water continues to move downstream. But I do want to emphasize the impacts from this river flooding will be mainly limited to the flood-prone areas along the river. Impacts are not currently expected outside of these areas, even though these rivers continue to rise. So some of those rivers are the PD River is forecast to arrive into moderate flood stage on Wednesday, so tomorrow. Santee River near Jamestown, that's along the Georgetown, Williamsburg, Berkeley County area, is forecast to rise into major flood stage on Thursday or Friday. We continue to coordinate with emergency management officials in that area. And they are closely monitoring the forecast as well along the Santee River, continue to coordinate with Santee Cooper as well, and they will be conducting public messaging to those that could potentially be impacted by this river flooding, and they issue alerts to communities that are along the river about the potential for this. So that is what we are encouraging. We're urging everyone along these rivers to listen to messages from local officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Andrew Bateman, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you, Governor McMaster. Andrew Bateman, South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff. We continue to work with utilities and our agency partners in an effort to restore power across the state. As Governor McMaster mentioned earlier in the press conference, outages do continue to drop. Briefly, I'll detail where the state lies and where the individual utilities lie currently. As Governor McMaster mentioned, the total for South Carolina as of a few hours ago, so he mentioned it has undoubtedly gone down since then by some degree, was 629,979. The top three counties are Greenville County at 165,137, Spartanburg County at 135,951, and Aiken County at 62,316. Dominion stands currently at about 75,000, Duke at about 395,000, and the cooperatives at about 148,000. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thanks, sir. Kim Stinson, South Carolina Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, sir. Kim Stinson, State EMD. The State Emergency Operations Center remains at operating condition 1, which is our highest readiness state. The priorities really haven't changed for us. Continuing maintaining communications, clearing roadways, power restoration, shelter operations, and food and water distribution. We currently have 11 of our personnel deployed to 11 counties in the most impacted areas to assist local authorities in responding to this event. County governments, the operational focus in those particular areas, in those counties, similar to ours, is power restoration, road clearing operations, sheltering, and food and water distribution. Damage assessment is ongoing in many counties, but we do have some updated information. On the residential side, 18 counties are reporting over 1,500 damaged homes, of which 66 are destroyed and 517 with major damage. Public assistance costs, that's the infrastructure damage and emergency protective measures, are being reported by 36 counties for a total of $16 million. And both of those are subject to change here as we move forward. And they went up significantly since yesterday. County governments are closed in 8 counties with 1 county on delay today, and that's trending down, which is a good sign. In the logistics area, we have actioned 599 requests, of which 241 have been completed and 358 are in progress. The most requests have been for food, water, fuel, and chainsaws. And so far, we have distributed 274,000 meals, 281,000 liters of water, and 3,500 tarps. On the federal side, as the governor just spoke to, is that we've got a major push to rapidly add those counties that he identified on the individual assistance and infrastructure repair and restoration reimbursements. And there may be more added as we move forward, but we're working with FEMA and then also gathering additional.
That is an update from South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster and state officials. The governor saying just a short time ago that he anticipates the number of counties eligible for federal disaster assistance from FEMA will grow. In our area, he expects Abbeville, Lawrence, and Union counties to be added to that list. That is in addition to many other counties in the upstate that are already on that list, including Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg, Cherokee, Oconee, Greenwood, and Pickens counties. Truly the majority of our area, most of our area. Now, if you need help, we have put information on how you can apply for assistance on WYFF4.com.
And also, Greenville Live Well has been set up. Call 211 if you have a non-emergency need, but it's going to impact your medical care or so forth. You can call 211 in Greenville County. The governor also saying something I think that was very impactful. We think about Hurricane Hugo and the impact that it had on South Carolina. The governor saying today, Hurricane Hugo in 1989 killed 35 people. The death toll now from this storm is 36 people in South Carolina.
Yeah, just devastating. With an event like this, everyone now lending a helping hand, coming from so many different areas, different states. We also learned the South Carolina National Guard is reporting that 963 South Carolina service members are responding to help people throughout the state. We've also learned, which I also find this interesting, the Florida National Guard Emergency Unit will be on its way to South Carolina. We know that so many people in Florida are also dealing with the aftermaths of Helene. So to know that service members in Florida will be making their way up to this area.
You know, there's so much that's going on right now, and we want to make sure that we point you to this resource available right here if you've got a cell phone.
If you would like to help, you can donate to the American Red Cross. You can scan that QR code right there, and you can give a financial donation. Officials with the American Red Cross also saying today that you can volunteer your time and you can volunteer your blood.
Yeah, and blood, the Blood Connection in Greenville is saying that it's really critical. This is the main blood supplier for all of our hospitals, so if you can, give blood. That's one thing that we can all do.
All right, make sure you stay with us. WYFF News 4 at 4 starts right now.